What is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be previewing the 10 biggest games of the 2025 college football season. Now, just to mix it up, I can only use a team once in this video, so I'm going to be using 20 separate teams for this video. Now, let's start off at number 10 with a non-conference game. A lot of people probably wouldn't put this game in their top 10, but I have North Carolina versus TCU. Like I said, I could only use a team once in this video, so I had to think outside of the box. And I think North Carolina versus TCU could be a season-defining game. It will be Bill Belichick's debut with North Carolina, and they're playing against a TCU team that is coming off a 9-4 season and has some hype next season. North Carolina has a very favorable schedule, but they opened their season with a big test at TCU. This game will kind of tell us how good North Carolina actually is, because I'm pretty high on TCU. TCU had a very explosive offense last year. They returned Josh Hoover at quarterback. They should be one of the better teams in the Big 12. North Carolina revamped the staff, adding Steve Belichick as the DC and Bill Belichick as the head coach. They will have some new faces, but Bill Belichick is working in the portal. This should be a fun game. It will be a fun early season game, and there should be some hype on this game. I have it at number 10. Number 9, I have Oklahoma versus Michigan. Both these teams have the potential to be one of the most improved teams in the country next year. Michigan with the highly coveted 5-star recruit in Bryce Underwood, and Oklahoma with John Mateer, one of the best transfer portal players this offseason. Both these teams have high upside on defense, but the question marks come on offense, but they both got some big quarterback names. This will be a fun early season matchup, and I can see this game going either way. It's also a SEC versus Big Ten game. It should be a fun non-conference matchup. Both these teams have quarterbacks that could really help elevate their offenses. This should be a defensive slugfest, and it should be a fun SEC versus Big Ten clash, and I do have this game at number 9. At number 8, I have a conference game, and that game is Texas A&M versus South Carolina. I have to add these two teams on here, and this could be a season-defining game for both these teams. This game will be played at the end of next season, and both these teams are sleepers to make the college football playoff. I could see the winner of this game getting into the playoffs. Last season, South Carolina dominated Texas A&M, but this season, Texas A&M will have the game at home, and they should have a packed house for the game. Both these teams have electric quarterbacks returning. Texas A&M has Marcel Reed back, and Lenore Sellers is coming back for South Carolina. Both these teams have some young talent returning, and they're very talented. I think this is going to be a great clash of two SEC teams trying to fight for a playoff spot. And I do have this game at number 8. At number 7, I have a Big Ten clash. I have Illinois versus Indiana, which is the first Big Ten matchup for both these teams next season. This could be a game of two top 20 teams, maybe two top 15 teams. And this could really be a season-defining matchup and get these teams on the right track heading into next year. I think this would have been a very even matchup if they played last season, but next season there's going to be some hype on both these teams. Kurt Cignetti will be looking to get back-to-back double-digit seasons, and same for Illinois. Illinois is a sleeper for the playoffs, and they return basically everybody. They return Luke Almeyer at quarterback as well. They're top 3 in the country for return and production. Indiana's working in the portal again. They brought in a guy like Fernando Mendoza. I think he'll be a great quarterback addition for them. I think this will be a clash of two college football playoff contenders and two sneaky Big Ten title contenders. And I do have Indiana versus Illinois, the first conference matchup for both these teams, at number 7. At number 6, I have Florida versus Tennessee. This game will be a season-defining game as well, and I could see the winner of this game getting into the playoffs. This game will be played in the second to last week of the regular season. Florida and Tennessee have been in a lot of people's playoffs for next season. Both these teams have 5-star quarterbacks returning for next season, and they both have a lot of hype on their name. Last season, Tennessee did beat Florida. It was a very close game, but Tennessee has not beaten Florida in a long time at their place. I think this will be a great SEC clash and a very important game in the playoff race. So I do have this game at number 6. At number 5, I have Georgia versus Alabama. These two teams will open conference play once again. Alabama and Georgia always have these crazy games, and I think this will be one of the best games next season as well. I know Alabama's hype has kind of died down. They didn't have a very consistent season last year and didn't make the playoffs. But this team is still incredibly talented, and Georgia has not been able to beat Alabama with Kirby Smart. This will be a big game. This will be a clash of two of the most talented teams in the country with two top head coaches in college football, and I do have this game at number 5. Number 4, I have Miami versus Notre Dame. This will be a week 1 matchup, and I'm very excited for this matchup. This is the first time these two teams have played since 2017, and this could be a crucial game for the playoff race. They both have very competitive schedules, and Miami should have one of the best rosters in college football due to their NIL resources, while Notre Dame also has a great roster, but more importantly, a great culture. Notre Dame is returning some key starters from last season's elite playoff team, while Miami is trying to take that step forward to make their way into the playoffs. They add one of the biggest names in college football at quarterback in Carson Beck. They added one of the top transfer portal classes in the nation, completely revamping a bad secondary from last season. This should be a clash of two top 15 teams, and this should be a huge matchup. I have it at number 4. Another week 1 matchup I'm really looking forward to is the game between Clemson and LSU. I have this game at number 3. LSU has not won a season opener under Brian Kelly, and next year is probably going to be a tough game for them, playing on the road against a Clemson team that is first in the country in return in production. So it's not going to get any easier for LSU with their opening games. This will be a spotlight game of possibly the two best returning quarterbacks in the country, Garrett Nussmeier for LSU and Cade Klubnik for Clemson. This game will definitely shake up the college football playoff race. I think one of these teams will be in the playoff regardless of what happens, maybe even two teams. And I think this could be a matchup of two top 10 teams. Both these teams have a lot of hype heading into next season, and I have this game at number 3. At number 2, I have a Big Ten championship rematch from last season. I have Penn State versus Oregon. This game is going to be a lot of fun, and this could be a matchup of two unbeaten teams. Oregon will have to face a brutal road test that they have not faced in a while, playing on the road against a team like Penn State, one of the toughest atmospheres to play in the whole country. Penn State is a team that went to the semifinals last year, and they definitely should be a team to watch out for next year with who they have back. They return all 5 starting offensive linemen. They return Drew Aller at quarterback and 2 top 5 running backs in the nation. Those guys are Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, 2 very good running backs. They have a great defense and add the Ohio State defensive coordinator. This should be an all-around good team, and I have no reason to believe that this will not be an elite team next season. They were a field goal away from making the national championship game, and I think they could go to the national title next season. Oregon, on the other hand, they have some questions. They lose a bunch of pieces, but Dan Lanning is a great football coach. They're coming off of an undefeated regular season, and Oregon went 13-0, winning the Big Ten and beating Penn State in a close game last season. This might be the most important game in the Big Ten title race and a very important game in the college football playoff race. I have it at number 2. And at number 1, to no surprise, I have Ohio State versus Texas in week 1. This could be a matchup of the number 1 and number 2 team in the country. This could be a matchup of the 2 most talented teams in the country. And this could be a matchup of the 2 biggest brands in college football. This will be a very important game. Both these teams have players that you could consider generational talents if they live up to their full potential. Jeremiah Smith is already living up to that full potential for Ohio State, but Texas has a quarterback like Arch Manning, who a lot of people are very high on. SEC versus Big Ten matchups are always a lot of fun, and this will be a very good game. These teams could play multiple times next season. I expect to see both these teams in the playoffs, and I have this game at number 1. This will be a clash of possibly the 2 best teams in the country. But anyways, that is going to do it for my top 10 games of the 2025 college football season. You guys let me know the games that I did not add on here that you would have on here. But let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. And also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.